All right, hi guys. I think that we are all set up. So today it's going to be just a tiny bit different because normally I have a second screen set up that helps me talk to you guys while I'm doing this. It's going to be a little bit harder for me to do that today because my second screen is unfortunately not working, but that's okay. We'll still be able to have class. I'm using my phone as a second screen, so hopefully I can see what you guys are saying. So a few things that I saw were that a few people wanted to make a game, which is awesome. We've made a lot of games in this class. So I'm kind of leaning towards the timer-based comic. And what I'm thinking is that we'll go and we'll work on our gravity project for just a few minutes. And I'll show you guys a few of the features you can add in to make it into a game, and then you can choose if you want to do the timer-based comic with us or if you want to do the gravity project. And if you want to do either one, you can obviously keep watching the video, you can stay in the chat, and then we can help you out with either one. Because we already did the hardest part of the gravity project, and I saw that a few people wanted to do like fireballs, which would be an awesome project for us to do next week because right now we don't really have all of the groundwork that we need. We don't have all the skills we need. But using a timer to have like the fireballs come out of our gravity characters will be a really good way to do that. So I think if you guys just bear with us, get through the timer-based comic today, which is a super, super fun project. I really love it, and I think you guys will too. But even if you're not super excited about it, I think that we should do that today since so many people want to add in, we call them like projectiles. So if you want to add a projectile into your gravity game or any kind of game, we can do that next week. So hopefully that sounds good to you guys. You can let me know in the comments. And then I saw Anders had a question about putting audio in. So in Code Naturally, we actually took away the feature that adds in audio to projects. The reason that we did that is because we were having problems with a lot of students. It's a harder thing to do. It's a little bit more complicated. And we were having problems with a lot of students either putting like inappropriate noises or just having really loud, annoying noises during class, which other people in the class were getting frustrated with. So we took away the audio feature. So currently in Code Naturally, there's no way to add in audio to your projects. But if you're using another coding platform, we can always help you out with that if that's something you really want to do and you're really excited about. So what I'm thinking is we'll go over the gravity project. I'll give you guys a few ideas of what to add in. You can get started with that. And then I want to do the timer-based comic as a class because I think that if we do the timer-based comic today, next week we'll be primed and ready to go for Mario. It seems like a lot of people want to do Mario or just have it so that their character is able to like shoot fireballs, apparently. So we'll do the timer-based comic today. We'll talk about timers, and I think there's a lot of like nesting conditional statements in that project as well, which are super important. So this is just going to help us lay the groundwork a little bit more. Cool. Okay, so quickly, let's go into gravity. And I think that I changed, I did a few things in here after last class that I haven't really paid attention to since. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so this is our gravity project. And you can see I can jump with my spacebar, and also this will be good because not everyone that's in class today was in class last time, I believe. So this will allow us to do a project today that anyone can do. So if you're deciding that you want to edit your gravity project, you don't want to wait until next week for us to work on it as a group. A few things that you can add on are that you can make an enemy that comes from the side, which a few people stuck around for last time, I believe. Let's find it. Gravity minigame. So right now I have a character, and I made it so that if the character got too close, then basically the game would end. You can make this a lot more polished and a lot nicer looking by just adding in a home screen, adding in an end screen. You could make it so that it's based on a timer, which if you aren't super comfortable with timers, you should definitely wait to do this until next week when we do it as a class. I just think that'll work out a lot better. Okay, so it seems like a lot of people want to do Mario. So how about this? We'll do our timer-based comic today. Next week we'll work on something that kind of resembles Mario, and we'll be able to do that using the timer that we practice and work on today. Sound good? Okay. But if you're really stuck on the idea of doing your gravity game, then maybe make random characters come out from other places. Try to use what you know to try to add in some of the features that you want to add. You can try to stylize it so it starts to look a little bit more like Mario. Trying to think of what else you could do. Oh, you could add in a score. So like every time your character successfully jumps over, it can be a point. So you just have like a little score system set up. Maybe you make it so that instead of your character losing the game every time they get hit, they just lose a point, something like that. So those are some ideas. Like I said, next week we'll work on making it more complicated and make it more Mario style, since a ton of people really wanted that. So yeah, timers are going to be important. So they are a really important thing to learn in pretty much any project that you make from now on. So everyone stick around for that. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. You don't have to. You can work on your other project, or you can watch a video on our YouTube channel. There's a ton of different projects that you can choose from. So I'm going to name this Timer Comic because I already have a timer-based comic. And we're going to start a new sketch. And, all right. And let me know if my screen is zoomed in enough, if you guys can see it well, or if you need me to zoom in anymore. I think that it's on the same zoom that it usually is, so it should be okay, but if by any chance it's not, just let me know. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to do is just set the scene, not the screen. So I'm going to put in a background for my timer-based comic. All right, so I'm just going to add in a background, and then I'm going to add in the ground. Oops. So maybe I'll make it green. Yeah. And I'm just making a rectangle for the ground. We've done this a lot, so hopefully you guys are pretty comfortable with this. If not, I'm just making a rectangle that goes from the left side all the way over to the right side and then all the way down. I do that by setting the point at 0,250 and making sure it's at least 500 wide and at least 100 tall so that it will fill out the bottom. And then I'm just going to add in a no stroke with a capital S, and that's what's going to get rid of the lines on the outside of my project. Okay. So far I have put in 4 lines of code. I have my no stroke, which gets rid of my outlines. I have a background, which is just a blue color. I have a fill that's green, and then a rectangle that makes the grass on the bottom. And what I really like about this project is that you can totally customize it and make it so that there's 2 characters, there's 3 characters, you could have 6 characters. You could have your characters change color so it looks like it's a different person. You could try really hard to make your characters look like Mario and Luigi having a conversation, or you can just have them be 2 circles talking to each other, which is what I'm going to do today. So set your scene however you want to, And then we are going to make our characters now. So I'm going to write character 1. And I'm just going to put in a fill command for it to make it, I don't know. You guys let me know what color you want my characters to be. Right now I'm just going to make them black. Oops. But let me know what colors you think my character should be. Even just copy and paste a color code into the comments and I can see it there. So that'll be a fun way for you guys to get involved. Or you can just let me know what color you're making your characters. I would recommend for now just doing something simple. So I'm just going to do an ellipse, and I'm going to have one of them right here with a center of 150, 200, and I'll make it 100 wide and 100 tall. You can make yours look totally different. Oh, Jonathan said to make it green, so I'm going to make a nice green character. Let's do a dark green, so the grass is really light green. All right, if anyone wants to... Oh, Jonathan gave me a color code. Let's see. 153, 153, 102. That is gray. Am I losing it, or is that gray? I like that color, but I don't know if that's the color you were going for, Jonathan, but I'll change it if you want me to. Okay. Am I reading that right? Yeah. Okay, so I have my fill, I have my ellipse, and now I'm just going to do 2 white circles for the eyes with like little black circles on the inside, so it looks like an eye with the pupils. Let's see. I'll have one right here. And let's make it like 10 wide and 20 tall. Probably going to want to change that. It's not too bad. Not the worst thing I've seen. All right, and then this one's going to be at 165, 190. Let's try making this one 20 wide and 30 tall. Yeah, that's more what I'm going for. So I'm just making these look like little cartoony characters. So you can choose right now if you want to make yours look really detailed right now, or if you just want to wait and make them more detailed later on. I might just leave mine with the white circles for the eyes. I don't know, do they look creepy? Maybe I should do the little black circles too. But like I said, you can make your characters look super, super simple or more complicated. So if you feel like you're falling behind a little bit, that's totally fine. Just modify your character a little bit, like make it a little less detailed for now. And then for the pupils, I just made them black, and I'd use the same center as my last ellipse, except I moved it down 5 units, and then I just made them 10 by 10. I don't know, they're okay, right? I think they're doing okay. All right, so that's character 1. Now I'm gonna make character 2. And what's cool about this is that if you wanted to, you could just copy and paste this and make your character like 200 units bigger for each thing, which I think is actually what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna use that dark green color for this one, this character. Oh yeah, it's stacked on top of the other one right now, so it's gonna look like that. But if I just go through and add 200 to everything, except for the size. Oh, and the Y's. I actually just have to add 200 to the X coordinates, which makes it even easier. Didn't think about that. There we go. All right, so that's how you can really quickly duplicate your character if you just want it to look like 2 blobs talking to each other. I didn't put a lot of thought and detail into these. You could add in full bodies to them. You could add in like a hat to them. Like I said, it doesn't have to just be 2 characters. It could be 3 characters, 4 characters. You can make it so your characters enter and leave the screen. There's a lot of different ways you could do it. Oh, Nathan said to make it, let's see, 255. Cool. A really light blue color. I like that color. I like both of these colors. Looking good. Okay, so thank you to Nathan and Jonathan for participating and giving me some colors. I have my character 1 and my character 2. So you guys let me know when you're ready to move on to the next step, and we will do that together. Just let me know in the comments when you are ready to go. All right, seems like you guys are ready. So I'm going to keep going. So the next thing that we're going to do is make a variable. And also, if you're not ready yet, remember you can always pause, rewind, fast forward, like to catch up. You can totally catch back up. You're not that far behind. So I'm going to make a variable, and I'm going to name it timer and set it equal to 0. And we're also going to have one called seconds that we're going to set equal to 0. So we're making 2 variables, and basically what's going to happen is that the first one, timer, is going to control when the seconds start counting. And I'm just using them in terms that we would normally think about setting up a timer. So we would think in like minutes, seconds, that kind of thing. The timer is going to be set, so basically 60 milliseconds in, it'll add to itself, which you'll understand a little bit more as we get through. But yeah, so make one variable, set it equal to timer, or name it timer and set it equal to 0. There we go. And then make another one that you're going to name seconds and set equal to 0. And also just a side note, I forgot to tell you guys this, but since I don't have a second screen set up, I can't see if there's something wrong with my screen. So if you need me to zoom in, if you need me to, like if I'm out of the frame, if I'm not actually in the camera's view anymore, just let me know and I'll fix it. But keep in mind I'm on like a 20-second delay from you guys. So everything that you're seeing me do, I actually did 20 seconds ago. Hopefully that makes sense. So it might take me a minute to just like read what you say and respond to it. Okay, so we should have our 2 variables. And now I'm going to move down and I'm just going to make a bunch of space between the curly brackets of function draw still. And we are going to go right here. And the first thing that we're going to say is timer equals timer plus 1. And so because we're increasing it by 1, and everything that gets read in function draw is done 60 times every second, that means that 60 times every second, the timer will add 1 to itself. So just like how we would move a character normally, that's the same way we're going to do it. Should be good. Okay. Now we're going to get into a little bit more of the complicated stuff. So this is where inequalities are going to be really important. So just to review, if you're saying if this is greater than this, the alligator sign is going to be eating whatever the bigger unit is. So basically, if you were to say like if, let's do it together. So if, in parentheses, timer is greater than, you want to make sure that it's eating the timer. So we're going to say if the timer is greater than or equal to, so greater than, oh wait, you guys are probably saying it the wrong way. Greater than or equal to, you can see it the right way on my screen, hopefully, 60, then what we want to happen is we're going to set our timer equal to 0, and we're going to say seconds equals seconds plus 1. So I'm going to give you guys a second to type that in. Pay attention to your inequality signs, like I said. They're really tricky to get right, but once you start to get them right, you get pretty good at them. So this is basically going to make it so that every 60 milliseconds, the seconds variable is going to be increased. There is an easier way that we could have done this, but I think that this makes the most sense as we're getting into timers. And also it's important to remember these kinds of ways that we can manipulate timers when we get later on into some of our more complicated projects. And you'll notice that timers pop up a lot before you start getting into the more advanced ways that you can code. It's like your next big step before you get into like the master level stuff that goes on in one of our other classes. Okay. So now we're going to start getting into the actual animation of it. So I'm going to say if, in parentheses, seconds is greater than or equal to 0, and seconds is less than 3, then. So I don't want to go too fast. So I'm going to give you guys a second to catch up with that. So this is how we're going to control the first snippet of conversation. And what you'll notice is we're going to do this over and over and over again to make all the different snippets of conversation. So just get used to it. This, like I said, this is going to be good practice for the inequality signs that we're going to be using. So this is where you're going to want to write your first snippet of the conversation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move up here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to move up here, and I'm going to just add in some text controls, basically. So I'm going to do text font. I'm just going to add in a random font that I like to use. You don't have to do this either. We're going to do text size. Text size is kind of a hard one. We'll see what it looks like. And then I'm also going to add in text align in parentheses center. And that just makes it a little bit easier to control where our text is showing up. Maybe I shouldn't do that. No, I'm going to actually take that out. Because it's automatically aligning to the left. So it might be a little harder to do our blue character, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, so far I just added in a text font and a text size. Okay, so then inside of your then statement, when it says if seconds are greater than or equal to 0 and seconds is less than 3, then you're going to want to put in what you want your character to say. So you're just going to write text, and then in quotation marks you write whatever you want it to say. So I'm going to just have it say, hey. And I'm going to put that at 200, 150, because I'm going to have my character on the left start talking first. So far it looks good. I think that the font is readable. And if you want to see it again, you can just clear your canvas and run it again. So saying hey, which I think is good. Let me know if you guys need me to slow down at all, or if you're doing good. All right, so now we're going to do the second character's response to what this character is saying. So I'm going to say if, in parentheses, seconds is greater than or equal to 3 in this case, because I don't want them to talk at the same time. I want one character to talk and then the next character. And seconds is less than, let's say 6. Let's just start with that. Then I'm going to add in another text that says, what's up? And that's going to be my character on the right. So I'm going to want it to be at 300, 150. I'm going to move it a little bit over so it's at like 280. Maybe even farther than that, maybe like 250. And like I said before, you guys can make these characters say anything that's appropriate. So instead of hey and what's up, you could have it say like, what's your favorite color? And the other one says green. If you want them to have like a longer conversation like that, I would recommend spreading your characters out a little bit more. Or you can also add a width and a height to the text to make it so that it like instead of like all in one line, it like makes a little text box. I'll show you how to do that. And if you wanted the character to, let's say that it's saying something that's really long, so it takes you longer to read it, you can change these to bigger numbers. They don't have to be 3 seconds each. It could totally be more or less than that even. So if you think like, oh, that character says that for too long, you can just edit it. And this is basically all that we'll keep doing for the conversation. So I'm going to just stay with the 3 seconds each. Maybe I'll make this one a little longer, actually. We'll have to see. And I'm going to say, let's see, he said hey, and he said what's up. So I'm going to have this character say nothing much. What about you? So I can show you how to take that longer text and make it look right. So to do that, we are going to set it up a little bit higher. So this one is at 200, 150, which is right here. This one, I'm going to put it at 100, and we'll see if it works. And then I want it to be 100 wide and 100 tall. So that should work. Cool. So we just need to move it up a little higher. So right now it's at 100, 150. I think we can change it to 150 so it's further to the right, and then maybe like 50 even. So you just kind of have to play around with it and get it perfect. Cool. So I think I'm even going to move it down a little bit, but that is how you would have your longer text be stacked up, because if I were to get rid of this, if I were to get rid of this 100, 100, then let's see what it would look like. So now it's in just one long line, which if that were lower, it would run into the other character's head. So that's why you add a height and a width to it, and it makes sure that your text only is that wide and that tall. All right, so let me know how you guys are doing and if you have any questions. And then the next thing that I'm going to show you is how to make your comic restart. So if you guys are feeling like you're done for the day, you can hop out at this point if you want to. I think we covered most of the important stuff about timers that we needed to talk about, except for this one part, which is just how we're going to restart it. And class is going to go on until 3:30, so we'll just be modifying this, changing it a little bit. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to say if in parentheses seconds is greater than 9, then what I want to happen is I want to reset it so that my timer equals 0 and my seconds equals 0. And by doing this, we're basically saying, all right, if it gets to the point where everyone has said everything that they need to say, then I'm going to reset everything so that the comic basically starts over. So you'll see they pause for a minute and then it just starts back over. You could also change this so that it's longer. So instead of like 9 seconds, it's like 12. So it actually seems like it's a full scene or something like that. So a fun challenge for this one is to make a scene from a movie or a show that you really like. You could make 2 characters that are more detailed. If you guys don't know already, there is a way that you can take pixel art that you do in beginner or advanced, and you can scale it up or down so the way that I would recommend doing it before I get too ahead of myself is to do it in beginner mode, and then there's a way that you can scale it up and put it into any sketch that you create. So basically, if you wanted this to be like Mario and Luigi talking, there's really good Mario and Luigi pixel art online that you could just copy in beginner mode, or you can totally make your own, make it unique. And then there is a video on our YouTube channel that is all about how to scale up videos, or not to scale up videos, how to scale up your characters so that they can be part of a project like this. So I really recommend that you do that, especially if you want to have it be a scene from a movie. And then if you wanted to add in another character to this, it's really easy to do that. So all that you would have to do is either make it so that there are 3 characters from the start. So there's maybe like 1 character here, here, here. You could make them way smaller. There's no reason that they have to be this big. They do look kind of big in hindsight, but we could always go back and fix that if we wanted to. Let's see, what was I going to say? But yeah, that's my challenge for you, is to either add in more characters or to add in or to recreate a scene from a movie or a TV show that you really like. I think that would be super awesome. I haven't personally tried that, but maybe I will after this project is done. I think that doing comics like this, you might have thought it would be really hard when you started it, but it's actually pretty easy, right? So it's not too bad. I'm going to show you guys how to have a character just appear on the screen too. So let's say you want to add a third person to the conversation. I'll show you how we can do that. So to do that, I'm going to design a character 3, but then I want to make so you can decide if you want your character to like drop into the middle maybe, or if you want them to walk on from the side, which I think makes more sense. So I'm going to make a variable I'm going to name it car, like character, but just like the first 4 letters, care, I guess, care 3, x, or I'm just gonna make it care x, equals, I'm just gonna make it equal 0 for now, and then I'm gonna go back and change that later. So what I wanna do is I want to design my character. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to design a 3rd character, and then I'll show you how we can have them appear on the screen. So I'm going to make this one really similar to these guys, so maybe I'll just copy and paste it to make it even easier. If you guys have a color that you want me to make them, you can just share it in the chat and I will make it that color. And I'm just going to make it so that the center is about here. So I'm just going to subtract 200, wouldn't be 200, it would be 100. Subtract 100 from this guy, just from the y, or from the x coordinates, just to start. Okay, and then I'm going to make it significantly smaller. So instead of 100 by 100, I'm going to make it 30 by 30 for the size of the character. I don't know, it looks kind of cute with the big eyes. Oh, Jonathan shared a color for me. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for participating. All right, it's yellow, which is awesome. I think that looks super good with all the other colors. And I'm just going to move it down. So I'm going to subtract like 25 from the y value. So instead of 200, I'm going to make it 175, and I still think that's not going to be, oh, I'm going to add it. And I'm actually going to add 50 to it. Not quite. Let's make this, wait, was it right? I'm gonna make it 235. Yeah, because I made it 30. So that should be good. And then I'm going to move the eyes down a little bit. So those are gonna need to be at like 240. Oops. Oh, that's too low. Maybe I just need to make them smaller. I'm gonna just make them 10 smaller. And you guys could make yours the same size. You don't have to do all this extra work. Yeah, 240 is way too low. Let's do 230. I don't know why I thought that would be right. And then I'm going to add 10 to this X and subtract 10 from this one. So it looks like the eyes are a little bit more on the head. Looks a little crazy. Let's try this. Oh, that should have been 260. There we go. I think that looks good. Okay, so I'm just modifying these numbers a little bit to make this look good. And I need to make these a little bit smaller. So I'm making the pupils on the inside of the eye just a little bit smaller. And then I'm just going to move them down using the, changing the 195 to, let's try 225. I think that's good because then it's kind of like he's like looking up at the taller people. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to go through and add our variable into our character. And what I'm actually going to do is make it so that character X equals, actually let's do this after. So I'm going to add it into the X value of all of my character's coordinates. So not the fill commands, don't do those, but you're going to add in car or care X, add that into each one of the x values. So it's the first number is the x value, right? And you just want to make sure that you avoid the fill commands. You don't want to add it into those. Okay, so let me know when you guys are ready to move on to the next step. So far what I did is I just took my extra character, and I could have just made it from scratch and it probably would have been faster, but I just copied my code for my character 2, put it in, and changed it so that it was smaller than the other ones, and then I added in plus my variable for all of the shapes, making sure that I wasn't adding it in to the fill commands, because you want to make sure you do not change the color unless you do want to change the color. All right, so let me know when you guys are ready to go. I feel like we are pretty close. And let's see. All I'm going to do is go to my variable. Hopefully you guys can see this. And instead of making it 0, I'm going to make it -300. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that my character starts off the screen. So now, instead of it being right here, it has disappeared off the screen. So how I can make my character reappear is say, okay, I'm going to change this to if seconds is greater than 20, then I want it to start over. And I'm going to go down here and make a new if statement that says, all right, if my seconds are greater than or equal to 9, which is the last one that we left off on, and seconds are, let's do less than 12, just to start. You can always change that number. And I'm going to say character, oh, it's not char, it's x, yeah, equals char x plus 2. And that's going to make it so that the character will reappear on the screen. It might take longer than 3 seconds if I put it at that speed. So let's do 3. It'll be kind of like it's like jogging by. Ta-da! So there's our character. So right now our character is just kind of running by, but we can change it so that our character does stop at a certain location. So right now it's just stopping when the seconds turn to 12. So one thing that you could do is you could say, all right, when he's right here, the seconds actually equal 10. So I just want him to move for 1 second. That's a really easy way that we could do it. Let's see if that lines up perfectly. All right, so he stops a little bit shy, so maybe we make it 11 seconds instead of 10. This is probably the easiest way to do it, is to just have him moving during those like 2 or 3 seconds in between the numbers that we put in there, but we can also make a like limitation on the location. I'm going to just slow him down a little bit, because I think if I just slow him down a bit, it'll be perfect. There we go. So that's perfect. So I landed on if seconds are greater than or equal to 9 and seconds are less than 11, then what I want is my character x to equal character x plus 2.5. So that means that it's only moving in that short time period that I gave it. And then if we wanted to give him a line, we could easily do that. We're going to do it the same way that we've done the other ones. if seconds are greater than or equal to 11, and seconds are less than, let's say 14. Let's go back to that 3 seconds. I'm going to have him go in, and maybe he'll tell a joke or something. I might just have him say, wow, you guys are tall. That's it. That's not a joke, but that's all that I've got for now. So we're going to put it at 240, 140, and then, oops, I did not type that right. And then remember that we can do the width and the height. So I'm going to do 50 wide and 100 tall, and hopefully that'll work. And so that's a basic rundown of how you can have these two characters have a conversation, have a new character come onto the screen if they need to say something else, or another thing that you could add in that I didn't do is you can make it so that a mouth appears when the characters are talking. So maybe like, yeah, that needs to go up higher. But maybe the, okay, so maybe they have like little text bubbles, little like speech bubbles, so you can actually see what they're saying. You can also make it so that a mouth is opening when they're actually talking. So I actually did this in another version of this project that I've done, where just a black circle appears when they're talking, which is super easy to do. All you have to do is add it into the text command. So anything else that you want to happen while your character is talking, all you have to do is add it into where the text command is. Like I said, it's super easy to change what they're saying to each other, but you have to keep in mind that you might need to move the X and Y values of your text just to accommodate how long or short your message is that you want them to say. So for this one, I'm actually going to change the text size too, because I just think that's it's a little bit too big for the amount of text that he's saying, and for how small the character is and how small the space between the two characters is. Yeah, so I'm going to move that down a little bit. I might even make that a little bigger, and then I'm just going to move it down a little bit. So cool. And as you can see, when you're editing something that has a timer in it, it can be a little bit time consuming because you're just sitting there and you're waiting for it to equal the right number. But that's the nice thing about using variables, is that you can always change it. So if I just wanted seconds to automatically equal 11 so that I could see what this guy's saying and see how it all lines up, I could totally do that. So by all means, if you feel like you're getting frustrated with just having to wait for so long, that's a really easy way that you can fix it so that you can see it right away. So I don't feel like there's a lot of questions. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the chat, or if you have any like requests for anything that you want me to show you in the last little bit of time that we have. If anyone shared a project today, I can go in and try to look at them and answer questions that you have, or I can look at them and share them with the class either today or next class. But we really do want to see what you guys are making, and then next week you guys can get ready for the Mario-ish game. It's not going to be exactly like Mario by any means, but we will make a simpler version of it. Just keep in mind that when you're coding a project, sometimes it's really cool to get exactly as close as you can to the original, and it feels, you know, good that you were able to create something that a professional was able to create. But it's also cool to design projects of your own and to have your own special take on a game. It can just be a lot more fun that way. And it's a lot more interesting for other people to play if you do it like that. Oh, is my character not even appearing anymore? What did I do? Oh, I didn't reset the character's X here. So if you want it to be able to loop, you do have to reset your character's X coordinate as well. So anything that changes, so if you maybe have like multiple characters that appear, if you want your comic to be able to run in a perfect loop like this without having to refresh it, you just have to make sure that you reset any variable that's changed in the time. So let's see. All right, so keep in mind that you can check out any of our YouTube videos that we have posted. We have a ton of different projects. If you feel like you want to brush up on gravity, or if you weren't here last week and you want to learn how to just create gravity, you can go back and watch our video from last week. It's posted under, we have a playlist that's all of the live classes that we've done. We also have a lot of other projects that we don't cover in this class. So if there's something you've thought like, wow, that sounds super fun, I really want to try that, you can go and check it out on our YouTube channel. If it's not something that we've already posted about, then you can request it in the chat and we'll create a video for it. And please let me know if you guys have any requests for what we should be creating or what we should be doing for classes. So for example, for this class, we kind of decided on the spot like, oh, let's do the timer-based comic, which is totally awesome and fun. And I'm glad that we were able to do this today because it's a good stepping stone to the next project that we're working on, which is going to be the Mario project. But if you have any other ideas for projects that you want us to do or videos that you want us to do other than like during our live class, like if there's just a certain type of lesson that you've been looking for that we don't have a video for yet, just let us know in the comments on a video, or we do have on our website, we have like a little box where you can ask. And you can also submit your projects anytime during the week and we'll get to them as quickly as we can through the link that's in the description. It just asks you like a few simple things, and then at the very end you can let us know if you need help with it or if you need, if you just wanted to share it so that we could share it with people. We do like to share the projects that you guys make in our newsletter that we send out to your parents, so yeah, I think that is about it. Let me know if you have any last minute questions. It looks like there's not really any questions. So we'll just sign off if that's the case. You guys did really well today. Thank you for being flexible, and thanks for your feedback and your ideas on the project that we should do. And yeah. All right, so share your projects with us, keep coding. If you want to do an extra coding class, you can always come to our beginner class or just pop into our master class. The master class is a little bit, it's a lot right now, so maybe don't pop into that one this week, but next week I think they'll be learning something new. And then, yeah, the beginner class is just fun challenges, basically. We don't really like do something as structured as this. It's more just challenges, which are super fun. All right, so we're gonna sign off for today. Thank you so much for coming and watching the video. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a lot, and yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well and staying busy and entertained. And we will see you guys next week.